I think sort of the other question is that you introduce the analysis of the media, especially the electronic media, and the kinds of, and if you, obviously you have to do that because it's dominating, and you use it and link it back to literacy. There's also sort of a cognitive shift that happens when you live in a world that is submerged by the electronic media. Your patterns of recognition, your cognitive whatever change. How are you going to bring them back to literacy, which requires a totally different?
Well, we're kind of committing ourselves to the approach that everything will reinforce everything else, and we're hoping that by making people more critical of electronic media, they'll become more critical of other things, such as their own cultural habits, their own popular culture, but also the books they read as well, and that this will make students not just consumers of media and people who are often required to memorize and regurgitate factual information, but they'll become much more critical of the things schools are doing to them and the things they do to their own lives, so that we don't see electronic media as divorced from print. Ultimately, we'd like to integrate the two, and this is often a selling job. Parents, school officials, students themselves often see print as the superior literacy, the real purpose of school. And electronic media literacy is strictly kind of a minor little adjunct that doesn't have a lot of weight. We want to try and change that notion, and we hope that the critical thinking skills they get in one area will carry over to the other area.
One of the other points is that oftentimes what happens in these situations is that we make the student aware of how things are constructed visually and what have you, and it never beyond that oftentimes. You see they make them more aware and more literate.
Oh, I'd be happy with just that. Those are worthy goals.
Yes, but then what happens is that we sort of, you're left as though if you're that critical, then the only thing that you can do is simply chronicle the triumph of the ideology that's out there.
Sometimes. Students are also involved in production. So they do increasingly get a chance to do things themselves in a creative way. And we're not critical only in a negative sense. The purpose is to inoculate students against the media. Often students are taught to appreciate the things the media can do and the ways in which it does it. Certainly we want to make them critical because of the vast power the media has and make them aware of how they are often manipulated in ways they don't see, but we certainly don't take a totally negative approach at all. And in fact, many of our students will go on to jobs in the media and see this as a perfectly valid career. And if in part that's a result of our work, then we feel good about that.
Running narrative, the whole thing.
Well, I could do this all day. We do this for a living.
What do you mean when you say you see it as they see it as a legitimate career?
Oh, I mean, the results of taking media literacy courses in high school are not going to be that you think, geez, I'd never want to work in the media. There's such sleazy buggers. It's just ripping people off. We don't take that approach. And a lot of the students who do well in media literacy often, will be taken to a shoot, will go to a studio and find it intriguing and fascinating and realize that this is an area where there's a lot of potential for creative and critical people. And, we're very happy to do that. And when community colleges, in fact, get in touch with us and say, hey, you're teaching this, would you people like to come to an open house? We say, terrific, yeah. Students often go on and start as cable pullers and work their way up and be producers. And if we have a hand in that, we're happy to encourage it. And a lot of students who, I and other teachers who've been in media literacy for a while have in fact gone into the media and have come back and talked to our students and opened up other avenues. So we certainly are not at all opposed to professional production.
I think it's moved beyond the high school level now, in the college level.
Yeah. The Ministry of Education's official stance is that production-based stuff that's to lead to jobs is a college-level thing, and that the high schools are supposed to look at it aesthetically, critically, in terms of visual literacy skills. But we'd like to see a nicer link than that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. They could be. Yeah. But a lot of my students, for example, get keen on going to Ryerson, and they see that what they've done in high school is the beginning of what could turn into some very interesting stuff. So we certainly try to steer teachers away from taking the inoculation approach that isn't this insidious, let's learn how they do their dirty stuff.